What if a shift in focus could change your whole life? Could help you to realign yourself with who you really are, feel like you're building a sense of flow. This isn't some self-help bullshit kind of spiritual blah 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 thing. It's something that's practical and it works because it applies to all of us because of universal principles about how life actually works. I've used it in my own life. I've seen my coaching clients use it and become unstuck. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it yourself so you can start flowing again and feel real. This might sound a little bit cheesy and I can already see some of you rolling your eyes and hear you sighing. But if you are stuck, then I kind of hope that this video will serve as a bit of a turning point for you. Now, that might sound a bit far-fetched, which is why you're probably rolling your eyes, but it's because sometimes we think a turning point has to be a huge thing, a massive shift in our lives, a big change, but it isn't. It's not like we're climbing Mount Everest every day or we're wrestling with a lion or something. A turning point is just 3 to 5 seconds where you get a bit of insight that puts you on a totally different path. And if you can have turning points like that, then it's going to shift your focus from the unreal to the real, and that's when you're going to start putting yourself where you need to be. A turning point like this in my own life happened probably about 18 years ago now, and it wasn't in a dramatic location. It was actually on a couch in my apartment. This really ugly, horrible, gross patterned couch that was there when I moved in, and I just kept it. And I was sat there after just coming out of hospital for a failed kidney transplant. That went horribly wrong. I was in a coma for a week, bleeding all over the place, covered in bruises, couldn't breathe. My girlfriend left me. It was like the start of, I don't know, one of these movies where somebody's down and out. Anyway, to say it was a bad time is an understatement. But I was just sat there on this couch and I kept festering away, thinking my life was over. Until one day I got bored of festering and this little voice popped up in my head. I said, get up, do some exercise. And so I listened to this voice, which was basically my voice. It's always dramatic when people say they heard a voice in their head. And I crawled over to my yoga mat. Well, I crawled over, got the yoga mat, unfurled it, and I started trying to do this power yoga routine that I've been doing for a fair amount of time before the transplant. And it sucked. I couldn't do any of it. I couldn't hold myself up in a plank. I was dying, gasping for breath as I tried to move from one pose to another. But you know what? I went back the next day and the next day and the next day. And even though my body was healing anyway, naturally, 6 months to a year later, I could smash that whole routine and I felt amazing. And it's all because of that little shift where I decided to get up off the couch. Now, all these years later, I still do power yoga. I teach it to people. My life is really good, despite me thinking back then that it was all over. And it's all because, in many ways, that little 3 to 5 second moment that shifted my focus and took me away from all the unreal bullshit in my head and just got me to focus on something real and start taking action with the way that I use my time. Now, maybe that's a pretty extreme example, but that story about what happened to me is the same situation that we're all in, but I just had the volume turned all the way up so I could see clearly what we were dealing with. And what we're dealing with is that our time is limited. We're mortal beings, and every moment we have a choice. We can either use our time wisely or we can just fester, waste away. And so if you look at your own life, especially if you are stuck right now, there's probably a couch that you're sat on waiting to get off. And all you need to do is find something to focus on that's going to motivate you to get up, get off the couch and start changing your life, because you're starting to focus on using your time wisely instead of just letting it be frittered away and wasting away, and then eventually getting to a point in life where you're just wondering what the point of it all is. So hopefully you can see these ferns behind me, which were green a few weeks ago. If you saw me walking around this pretty much same location, chatting shit like this, the ferns were green, they were flourishing. But now, they're not, they're dying. And I suppose we can say in the context of this video, that's just another reminder for what we're talking about. Like, we're born, we ripen, we decay, we die. It's the cycle of life. Time is limited, even for the ferns. Wow, that's so deep. But it's not just our time that we have to focus on if we want to live our realist lives. We also have to focus on our gifts. Our gifts are the things that we just have naturally, actually, in most cases, like our strengths, our qualities and creative talents, our ability to serve people in very real ways, like listening, just being present, whatever it is. We all have gifts, and the more real we are, the more we can use our time to develop those gifts. So the two are intertwined, because just having a gift isn't always enough. Sometimes if it's a talent or something, you have to invest your time wisely in getting more skilled at whatever it is you're doing. Other times you have to do inner work so that you can dig into the shadows of yourself, where a lot of our gifts are hidden because of the way we've been conditioned to hide behind ego and the masks that we wear as we perform through life. We have to dive inside ourselves so we can bring our gifts to the surface. But the point is, if you don't use your gifts, then you're just like one of these ferns that is born, fades away, and that's the end of it. But if you use your gifts, well, you'll still fade away and you'll be forgotten overall. But at least while you're here, you can show up in the realest possible way. So your creativity and your talents and all those things, great gifts. You should use them, you should focus on them, and use your time wisely to develop them. But there's one gift that is more powerful than all the gifts. And drum roll please, it's your realness. Your ability to be integrated within yourself, to be present, to keep moving towards wholeness, to reconfigure your relationship with yourself so your ego isn't holding you back, so you can bring up the shadow self and be the version of you that you are supposed to be in the sense of it just is what it is. You're not hiding, you're not performing, you're not sending important parts of yourself off into exile. Recently, I spent 2 and a bit weeks of my life in just total presence with somebody that I really love. We just really just decided, right, we're dropping our routines, we're just gonna do whatever we feel like doing. Sometimes that meant not doing very much. We might just sit there together, we might just eat, play Uno or whatever it is, just simple things. But the fact that we were doing that from a place of extreme presence made it so valuable. Like, that person will always be in my heart now, as cheesy as that sounds, because I really just was given the gift of that presence. And I wasn't expecting this person to do certain things or to give me certain things, and vice versa. We just created this container where we could just both be whatever it was that we needed to be. We stepped away from agendas, we stepped away from ideas, expectations. We just were, and we just went with the flow, and we both showed up. And that was the greatest gift that, in my opinion, either of us could have given to the other one. But you can only get there if you do the work on yourself. You invest your time in facing your shit so that you can actually handle being intimate with somebody in that way, that you can show up, that you can speak the truth when you need to, that you can just give who you really are. And so this is why these two things are linked: your time and your focus. Time, because we're all going to die. You got to get up off the couch, but then you have to use the time that you do have to bring your gifts to the surface. And all that really means is that you get out of your own way and you stop bullshitting yourself, you face who you are, and then you share that in a way that's true. So this is turning into a very romantic video, but if what I'm saying sounds a bit much, just think about the extreme consequences of not valuing and investing your time and your gifts wisely. Where do you end up? You end up in a job, a mug job that you hate. That is the worst thing that most human beings can imagine. Being in some soul-crushing job where you're just playing on Excel all day, doing repetitive tasks over and over again that you know don't mean anything, and your soul gets sucked away from you. And the reason your soul gets sucked away is because you're not using your time, and you know it, and your gifts aren't being given an opportunity to be expressed, and you know it, but you don't know what to do about it, and so you feel stuck and lost, and you can't stand it. It's the worst situation a human being can imagine in most cases. Or maybe you end up in a relationship where you haven't been real. The time that you spend is in arguing, in petty little discussions or debates about who's right, who's wrong, all this stuff. It's just the consequence of not being real with your time and your gifts, because you're not showing up in a way that is the best use of your time, but also you're not showing up as you with that realness and the gifts that you have to give. And that's all any of us really want. We want to use our time wisely so we feel like we're not wasting our lives, but we want that opportunity to give something real, to give those gifts. Okay, Ollie Anderson, slow down. What are you supposed to do if you're in this situation? Well, first of all, you need to become aware that the situation you found yourself in, if you are stuck or lost, or you just feel like you're in the void, which means that you're disconnected from yourself and the truth, if you feel that restlessness that comes from that, then there's a very high chance that you are in this situation and you just haven't been using your time and gifts in a real way, or wisely, if you want to use that word. And so all the little choices you've made that led to where you are right now have just been a case of you putting something unreal in and getting something unreal out. And so what you need to do is start shifting things. You need to put real in so that you eventually get real out. That doesn't mean that your life is going to change overnight, because it took you many years to get stuck in the first place. It's going to take you at least a bit of time to get unstuck. But what it means is that you shift your focus onto using your time and using your gifts in this real way, and then you put yourself in the process of changing trajectory. Once you've done that, then over time you're going to find that things do get a lot more real. A good way to look at it is to ask yourself this question: if you don't change anything, you just leave things as they are, you keep doing what you've been doing over and over again, where are you going to be in 5 years? Are you going to be where you want to be? If the answer is no, then probably you do need to start thinking about your time and your gifts and what you can do with them that's actually real, instead of just wasting them. If you feel like in 5 years doing what you're doing is going to lead to where you want to be, then don't change anything, because the odds are you are using your time, or at least thinking about it, and you're expressing your gifts, using your gifts to show up in that real way. The question you have to ask is, what path are you on? Are you on the real one or the unreal one? If you want it to get more real, you need to start putting something more real into the way that you're walking the path. So to make all this practical, I've got some simple questions for you. One about time, one about gifts. You can either answer these in your head, or if you want to go deeper, sit down, journal, write out your answers and see what's actually coming up from your unconscious and that needs the attention of your conscious mind so you can start acting on it. The first question about time basically comes down to choice. And it's a reminder that every moment we have a choice. We're either choosing something unreal because we have given into our conditioning and all that stuff, and our shadow is in hiding, or we're choosing something real because we're on the path towards wholeness and we're involved in that process of becoming who we actually are. And so the first question is very simple. It's a double-barreled one. It's, how can I start making real choices, and how can I stop distracting myself? Look at your life. There's probably all kinds of distractions that are stopping you from doing what is real for you. You're getting sucked into things and giving your time to things and your energy and attention that don't deserve it. You might be watching Netflix when you could be journaling or reading a book or having a real conversation with someone on the phone or whatever it is. Look for those opportunities and start choosing the real over the unreal. And over time, that is going to put you on a real path. The second question is about your gifts. And it's really simple as well. It's just, how are you holding back in your life? How am I holding back in my life? Just because it seems impractical. Probably if you want to do something and it's real to you, it's already there. It's on the periphery of your consciousness, but your ego, your current way of identifying, keeps batting it down. It keeps blocking it out of you because it seems impractical. And impractical really in most cases just means it's your conditioning. You've got some self-limiting beliefs, like you feel you're not good enough, or good things can't happen to you, or I don't know, whatever it is, you're judging yourself. Who do you think you are wanting to do this? If you don't do that stuff, then you're always going to feel like something's missing, because it's an expression of your real you. Whoa. I feel like those geese are telling us something. And if you can overcome that barrier of it seeming impractical, well, you can start taking the action, you can start expressing those gifts, and you'll feel more real. So that was a video about how precious your time is and how precious you are. Precious in the sense that you're rare, that you're limited edition. Day by day, second by second, you're becoming rarer and rarer. And so if you want to live a real life, you need to embrace that and use your time and your gifts wisely. There's probably a couch that you're sat on where you're holding back, hesitating, wondering if it's worth it. But of course it's worth it, because you only get one life and you might as well make the most of it if you want to experience everything that life has to offer. You don't have to. Like, you can keep playing it safe. You can keep telling yourself it's impractical or whatever else you're telling yourself. I'm holding onto this tree for dear life because otherwise I'm going to fall and die. Which is fine. I mean, it's the point of the video, I guess. We're all going to die one day. But your gifts and your time can either take you where you want to be, or you can just choose not to use them and then regret it, and always have that restless, itchy feeling of the void that keeps calling you, and it's calling you back home, which is where you belong on that path to realness, which is what we're talking about. If this helps you, and it did become a little bit of a turning point, which is dramatic, I know, then let us know. Let everyone watching this video know what you're going to change. Leave a comment. Keep yourself accountable. And on that point, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been watching these videos. There's a lot of people that have been leaving comments on multiple videos. Not a lot of people, but I mean, there are people out there that have been leaving comments on multiple videos. So I want you to know that I appreciate it. I know there's a real human being behind the screen. A few people have emailed me, so thank you to those guys. I had a few conversations with people. But anyway, life is short. Life can be real or unreal. And the only thing that makes a difference between the two, puts you on one path or the other, is you. So stay real out there. Hope this helped. Peace to you.